Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of Because Yes. This is the podcast where we talk about anything because yes.
I love the enthusiasm. I'm not going to lie.
There we go. See?
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
So guys, today we're going to be talking about simply why don't students get involved on things on campus. This could be small, little group organizations, or it could be huge events cast by Edgewood. So I guess the question going around is, why not? Why don't students get involved?
Wait, I have the answer for you.
Alright, James.
One of the reasons that I find it difficult is, since I commute, for the viewers who don't know that, I actually commute to campus, which is like a 20-minute drive. Sorry.
I second that. I commute as well.
So generally, if either I'm not on campus in class or studying, I've got no reason to be here because it's just a waste of time for me to drive here and a waste of gas and waste of resources, basically.
Is there a time that would work well for you if events were held specific times would work well for a commuter? Do you think?
Generally, it helps when we do these podcast recordings. I still have class at 6:00 p.m. So, time in between classes really helps, too, when, there's just things going on, and I can just pop in and pop out as need be.
For me, I used to do I'm an art major, so basically a lot of my projects are in the stream building. And so, it, like he said before, it takes a long time for me to get to Edgewood and go back. And, we got to just provide an incentive for people to stay. I guess maybe gathering incentives could be a great way to get people more involved at Edgewood, to make it easier for people.
When you suggest an incentive, what specifically do you mean?
Maybe a tiny bit of free food, or maybe, these are just suggestions, maybe coordinate with people's class time, so that way there's a reason for them being there. They're not going completely out of their way just to spend 20 minutes or an hour, then have to spend 3 times as much time going back to where they live.
Okay. And James, you suggested that to you it seemed like a waste of time to, spend money, spend gas, spend resources to come back to Edgewood. That's only an event. Is there something that you think would make it less of a waste of time, not even just for you, for other commuters as well?
Well, it's if I'm going to come to campus on a day off when either I might be working or coming from work, it's gonna be a pretty good thing for me to come to campus. I think about a year ago, I actually came here to our club meetings after work because I was excited to come here. But since I'm not really a part of any other organizations, it makes it harder to want to come to campus on days when I don't need to be on campus. Make sense?
Yeah, I'd say so. How about the guys living on campus? I'm included, so how would either of you guys? I guess there's only 2 of us who live on campus here. Matt, do you have any thoughts on activities on campus living?
I think a lot of times, the times these events are planned can be a problem with class schedule and things like that. So I think that's a really big thing. And that's hard to address because everyone has a different schedule. Maybe if they took a little more data from students and listened a little more about what times work better for students would be more interested in being involved. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, so I think on probably the weekends, they have the least amount of people show up to things. And so I think, first off, they almost need to do more advertising for things because I'll get an email once in a while, and it's it'll be 7 o'clock at night, and then I get an email saying, oh, we have an event going on tonight at 7, and it's I have never even heard of this, and I feel like so many events, they need to figure out OSI or on Edgewood, they need to figure out a better way to present things to students, and if that's having a specific website for Edgewood events, because sometimes an email just is not enough advertisements to get students interested, or where can a student ask questions about something
damn straight.
Our RAs will sometimes suggest oh, here's some things going on, but
again, if you're off campus, there's no RA.
I feel like I don't know where to go to figure out what these events actually are, and even just sending out a calendar. I know you could probably go on campus to the departments and figure out, okay, on these days these events are happening, but as my own, without doing any I don't want to feel like I have to do research to figure out when events that are for students or to get students involved. As a student, I don't feel like I should have to research those. I feel like I'd much rather like pick and choose. Okay, this seems interesting. I want to go to this, and not, when is this event being held? What time is it? So,
I mean, technically there was a CA, like a commuter advisor, which was a thing. I don't know if that's like still around, because it was around like last year, first semester.
I mean, I know that they send out the Winger Weekly and everything like that. And it's kind of supposed to keep us updated. But I don't know. I don't find that very useful. I actually find the Residence Life one they send out really useful because I feel like it's organized nicely. It just has what you want to see. It doesn't have so many events that they overwhelm you. I mean, just going around, like, do any of you read the whole Winger Weekly?
No, I don't even open it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem about the Winger Weekly. It just has too many things.
It is a lot of information. It overwhelms you.
And so a lot of times I look at it, like half a second, see there's 18 things going on, and while that's great, I think they need to find a way to tailor the experience for like maybe a commuter Winger Weekly or something like that, or like a student org Winger Weekly. And that way they can cut down on some of the, we'll say, non-necessary things that maybe you care about, but a lot of times people don't want a giant list to look at.
Spam.
Yeah, spam, essentially.
Question here. Has anyone here done like a community with that was done through Edgewood? Because what I want to know is, because I think a lot of students worry about going with a group versus just doing it with a group of friends. Because if you feel like, especially if you're going with Edgewood, a school that's known for being, they have a Catholic background, and you're gonna feel like you're restrained to I have these specific times, I have to do this at this time, the bus is this time, whatnot, even I can't just swear because it's done through Edgewood. Or like if I feel like people on their own, they're much more relaxed. So how does Edgewood like open up to allowing students to feel more like expressive? What do you guys think?
Honestly, I have no idea. I really can't think of anything.
I mean, I guess one of the only things maybe if Edgewood maybe would have paid, if there's like a movie event, maybe Edgewood could pay for people's tickets to go on a movie event. Maybe.
I think that we do that already for like the Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh, we don't.
Oh, we don't. Okay, well,
okay.
There you go.
Well, never mind then.
I mean,
I guess I was incorrect.
Yeah,
they did prorate that one, I believe, though, because it was sent out the day of and it was that night. Because I remember seeing it, and it's like that's another thing. Like if you send something out day of and then it's that night, it's really hard for students to work that into their schedule because they don't have any planning time.
Because like, who's gonna drop everything and go see a movie or go see something that just came out at the last minute? Granted, there are a few exceptions. You know exactly who you are. But like, let's say we have like projects due tomorrow, or papers, or things that needs to get done. You're not going to get a lot of responses. Stop that. You're not going to get a crap ton of like responses like at a last minute thing. Granted, it could work, might work, but it's not as effective.
For the Captain Marvel, when did you guys actually find out? Because I swear I got the email on the day they were doing it, like 2 hours before they actually had the event. Did any of you guys learn earlier about the Captain Marvel movie event?
I mean, I walked past like a poster of like Captain Marvel that's like on the like giant board of posters because it's like so like I thought like holy crap, there's Captain Marvel. What's it say? Like it's effective for like a brief period, but not everyone like walks to Wingra through this one specific door and walks past this one specific board.
Yeah, see, I don't even think I saw posters.
How many community boards are there? I
have no idea. I just like walk around on campus occasionally, but not really. But there's definitely one by the like Predolin. Oh,
there's 35 in total. Wow.
How do you know this? Okay,
magic. Who knows? But either way, I mean, it's not even posters. I feel that the problem with name one time when you guys are walking down downtown Madison, you actually stop to look at an actual poster. I'm not saying they're not effective. I'm just saying for me, like, unless I see someone looking at a poster, like that's what I found about the Captain Marvel thing. I literally was walking by and this one person in front of me looked at a poster. I would have had no idea there was a Captain Marvel if she had not looked at a poster for another event before me. So,
I mean, I guess that works, but like, do you guys like remember like way back when like handing out flyers was kind of popular, but also like kind of like wasn't a waste? Personally, like I kind of feel like a smaller version of that could work. Just so like of like general information, like here's what we have, because there are some people who like just don't read their emails.
Yeah. Like what if they just had like a in the Edgewood Commons room, like where the big room, if they just had like a little shelf or whatever that had like here's the events for the upcoming 2 weeks, and you just grab it, take it, and you look at it when you want to. That says here's what's coming up, instead of I see a post in the hallway when I'm going to my class and I have no time to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let students do it on their own. That's my thing.
Because I mean, like back in my high school, they handed out this like news, I want to say it's like, what was that thing called? Like a newsletter kind of thing. Yeah, like a newsletter booklet type thing with like what was going on for like in the school, like what the events were and like when they were happening. I feel like something like that, but like to like a smaller scale would definitely help.
So you kind of want like a Winger Weekly printed?
Yeah, basically.
Just at a more like organized and smaller scale?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're thinking?
Because like then I'm gonna like look at my bag and see like, holy crap, there's a piece of paper here. But granted, there are pros and cons to that too, and that's only for people who like think that it's easier to like read a booklet that has information.
What about your email? I mean, doesn't that give you information about everything?
I mean, it does, but like generally, I don't check my email unless it's like from a professor or I'm talking to someone important. Because then it's just sort of like, at this point, it's like a cluttered mess. It's like one of those drawers we just throw everything into, and you just leave it there as it collects more and more ketchup packets.
So I don't know what everyone else's opinion on that. I mean, I read every email and I have it organized, so I can't relate to that aspect of it. No ketchup packets in there.
You're a rare student, though. I think majority of students, when they see anything, when it's like, oh, please complete the survey, it's like, oh, that goes in the delete file.
Exactly.
Spam.
Yeah, spam file.
I wouldn't be surprised if you check your spam, you found an Edgewood thing. I mean, I think I've seen
anything that originates off campus, you get like a warning message that this does not originate from Edgewood.
Yes. See, like headers like that kind of help. Like they're somewhat effective, but like I'm not going to be inclined to read it if it's not from Edgewood either.
So another question, so we're talking about the Captain Marvel, but do you think that's an actual event that gets students to want to say, oh, I want to go to a movie through Edgewood? Because when I think of it, I think I could go to a movie, anytime I want, with like on my own to my specific time. I could go with a couple buddies and it'd be fine. I think personally, we might if Edgewood did like bigger events where like this is just an example, but at one point we talked in here laser tagging. Like it's hard to go with just two people to go to laser tagging and say, okay, let's have a fun laser tagging. See, I think Edgewood could really benefit from doing like bigger things like that, where it's like 3 people is not going to do the job here. So like if we can get 12 students to go up to this, we could have a really good time. And for a lot of students, having 12 friends is not likely. So I think Edgewood, the OSI could really benefit from having larger scale. Like
I have a really I just thought of something. What if Edgewood would have like a cesspool of money? They give it to like group organizations, to group advisors, and they distribute it.
I think that we already have that.
Yeah. We do?
I think to like a smaller scale, we already have that.
Okay.
But that's mostly for like things that are like the club needs. I think. I don't know all the details, but there's like a very small amount of cash. Now going back to like the laser tag thing, I think that's a great idea because A, it's a good way to like, de-stress and like take like a small break from like doing homework all day and every day. B, you have a chance to meet new people, and C, you can be extremely competitive, and it's an event that I would actually come to for campus. If they or like go to like the event personally and say, hey, this is like a good thing to do, and I kind of want to be here right now. And plus, it gives me like something to do on a Friday night where I might just be sitting at home doing nothing except watching Big Bang Theory.
But do you think that, that can be at a pretty expensive, when you think about transportation and just the cost of those tickets.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to affect?
Considering how much we all pay in tuition, what does the campus really need? Granted, I could be something completely out of line with that statement, but
the same end. I feel like too, if Edgewood plans this, I think they could get a cheaper cost than people just doing it on their own. And I think like the group package, the group transportation, I think that in the end would be cheaper to do as that type of group than anyone doing it on their own. So I think doing a bigger program like that, although it would cost money, I think it would be cheaper to do it through that than trying to do that on your own. Well, a movie is like, either way, you're not really paying that much for a movie.
So then, according to this very excellent, tall, outside source, I guess there was a laser tag event 3 weeks ago. But, like, did you guys even hear about
No,
that?
I didn't even hear. I didn't see one poster for it. Did anyone get an email about it?
I mean,
was it specifically saying laser tag, or was it within like?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what was it under the Wingra Weekly, something like that, or?
No, it wasn't. So
okay, so
like there is like a total marketing issue right there, because if like I knew about that, I totally would have gone, because it's laser tag and it's fun and I can shoot people, except not actually shoot them. Email got sent out the day. Okay, so this is an issue of when it gets sent out the day of. This, advertising like an event like this, really, you want it to have the maximum number of people you can. So, like, even a week out is still a good idea to still send it out, but not the day of.
That's when it was sent out, the day of they were doing it.
Yeah.
And that's another problem. That's how I felt with Captain Marvel is I saw the email 2 hours before they were having it, and it's like, I don't have time to plan for this. I was working on a paper at the time, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do with this. Like, and I get that there are posters, but I feel they have to do a better job. Just OSI or other organizations on Edgewood have to do a better job of letting students know, even having like students going out and to at lunchtime, being within, because they have like little like tables and stuff set up at lunchtime.
Exactly.
Within the near the bar, or whatever you want to say, the
Phil's.
Yeah,
and,
not so much
Wingra?
Phil's, the other place. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, Wingra.
Yeah.
And they they have little events held up there. I feel like it'd be nice to have students like
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, laser tagging this day," or find out, come here if you want to learn more information. And that way, when students walk up to lunch and they're waiting, 15 minutes for their burger or whatever, they see that laser tag, and that's a good time to figure out more.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that idea with having the booths in Wingra fills those areas, because that's something you can easily walk up to. Just grab a flyer or something like that to have something physical with you. What do you think about like if they put kind of like a little flyer or something on the commuters' cars in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Not everybody wants it on their car, and most people, like, if you park a car in Madison and someone gives you like orchestra or there's going to be a game night on this day, probably gonna throw it in the trash because I don't like it on my car.
Or
so how else should they promote to commuters so that they're not reading their emails and they're not staying on campus much to see the flyers? What are your thoughts?
I mean, like, the like booths like in Phil's and Wingra sort of like catch your eye if you're just walking past. Because I mean, like, I've definitely like stopped and read at a few booths as I'm like walking to my next class, and it'd be nice if like they did that more often for like smaller events. And then back to like the like putting it in your car thing.
Excuse me.
I actually don't park on campus because I'd rather save myself a few $100s because I'm cheap like that. So like I like hike for about 10 minutes and just park somewhere else because it's money that I'm saving. So there's pros and cons to putting on someone's car, but most likely I wouldn't like finding something on my car because generally I think that it's a ticket. And those just piss me off.
Yeah. Again, guys, thank you for joining us. And because, yes, we're a little bit past 15 minutes now, and we are talking about why students don't get involved in activities.
What? 20? 20 minutes. Oh.
Whoa.
Are we still good to like keep going? Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's been 20 minutes, actually, not 15.
Damn it, Kyle.
Time is flying by. So, continuing off with talking about how to get more activities or more advertisement. There was an event on Edgewood where it's like internship events where they have like the booths, but it's a giant circle. And I feel like if they just had a day, in Wingra where they had like a circle of booths, each one you could go to, and it's like, here's this event, here's the paperwork on this. One could be, laser tagging, or, it could be something like Marvel. And I think a booth would be a great suggestion for just getting knowledge, because it doesn't take long, and so many people pass through Wingra through classes or lunch. I think that is probably one of the best ways outside of emails. Do you guys have any other suggestions on how they should advertise? Or?
What are we thinking? Like, how long should these booths? Like, how early? A week, 2 weeks before the event?
At least a week.
I think that at least a week would help because, like, if I know like a few days ahead of time, then I can like plan accordingly and figure out what I'm doing and if I'm doing nothing.
It also gives and I think it also helps plan and organize because they could even have sign up sheets. That at least gives them some sort of suggestion of how many people might show up, and they can plan for that as well. So I think a week gives students enough time to plan for that, and I think it helps give organizations on campus enough time to actually plan will this event be happening.
What is the process for like you said Wonder Woman? Sorry, I meant Captain America. What is the process for that? Like how is it orchestrated? Does like a student go up to a faculty member and say, "Hey, Captain America's coming out in 2 weeks. Do you want to maybe send that through?" Or
yeah, I'm not sure the exact.
I think the student organization that leads all that would contact the theater and get the tickets, and then they'd have to set up transportation and stuff like that. It probably would really depend on the actual event that's being hosted. But if they're going to get a bulk amount of tickets, they get them discounted, so they'd be in contact with the theater about that one, for sure.
So is there anything else specific? We mentioned the flyers on people's cars, but as we're finding out, people don't like parking on campus because it costs a lot of money. So like even earlier today, in my other class, we walked a couple blocks to a fellow student of mine's car because it was a lot cheaper to do that than having a car on campus. So how else can Edgewood advertise for commuters or people who are on campus for the class, but they don't actually spend any time in the buildings? What do you guys think?
Honestly, I think at this point we're sort of just like reaching like the end of the rope because we've got the booth idea. There's like handing out actual flyers to students if they walk past. There's also like the idea of like a physical Winger weekly, if I can say my W's right. There's like the poster board still, which still works, and granted there are some people who do check their emails more often than not. I'm just rare cases.
Does anyone know here, does Edgewood have like a specific link on the website that goes only through like activities, that talks about like what activities Edgewood is planning?
Outside sources? Because I personally don't. I guess it's only what clubs we have.
Yeah, so I feel like if Edgewood could spare the money, or they could, if they had like a link that said, here's the activities that these clubs are running on this week, I think that would be a great like area for all activities to be located where students go, okay, hey, I want to know what activity is going on, so I'm going to go to this Edgewood, Edgewood type of website.
So I guess my question about that is that we're talking about how the Winger Weekly is such an information overload when we get that email. So then you're telling students to take initiative and go on a link. And are they looking at a calendar just like the Winger Weekly then? Or is that kind of what you were thinking? Because I'm just worried that first they're going to have to go to a link, which is them doing something themselves there. And then they're going to be overloaded with information like a calendar.
What if I know this may sound kind of weird, but what if you were to make like a logo? Like the groups have a logo and they submit it, so that way it's not you're looking at bullet points. Because it's very easy when you look at something that's very boring and like doesn't have much things. It's easy to gloss over something like Laser Tag or Captain Marvel or Pumpkin Fest or Spring Awakening, something like that. Just making it more noticeable so people can see through, what's going on.
I see what you're going for there, because if they almost like just sent out like a PDF or something like that, that was a little more like just logos and graphics and stuff like that versus just text in an email like the Winger Weekly is, people might stuff is going to catch their eye. Like they're going to see the theater logo because they're into the theater, or they're going to see something else like that. So that's possible. That's a good point.
What about Outlook calendar? I mean, do they have events on that?
I never checked that, so I have no idea.
Okay, so what about you guys? Do you guys check your Outlook calendar?
No.
For me, this could be another topic at one point, but I miss, Outlook online is terrible. A lot of the, it doesn't matter if it's, Outlook, Word, Outlook, Excel, they're all really awkward to use, so I feel like Awkward Calendar on its own is already really awkward to use, and I think it'll just frustrate students. I don't know about other people's opinions, but I really don't like the online Outlook programs.
I don't like it either.
Well, that's. What type of calendar do you guys use? Do you guys use Google Calendar? Do you guys use OneNote? I don't know if OneNote has a calendar of that sort. Because if Edgewood should plan events on a type of calendar everybody's connected to. So you have group invites. Making group invites on your phone would be so much more effective than just.
I mean, I am more likely to check a group invite on my phone because it's like, what is this event? What is happening? Who's going? Who's in? What is it?
Yeah.
As I just repeated like twice, I think. Granted, that would work.
Yeah. I personally use Outlook Calendar to put all classes and everything in and different events and work schedules. But I don't know really many other people that keep an online calendar for students. I mean, I know obviously faculty and staff do it with meetings and things of that nature. But, I mean, I don't even know, because the problem is if they sent out invites to us for an event, well, if people aren't reading their email, they're not going to get the invites. So even if they sent out an invite, it's going to send out as an email.
Then again, in the same type of like vein, if you're getting spammed with invites to every single organization that goes out there and they're putting out X number of events this week, you're not going to want maybe 80-90% of those, and then you just get annoyed. And then it's kind of like with the weekly ringway thing is you just ignore it completely because you don't really care about it, or it's just too much information coming at you. So it's kind of hard it'd have to be an opt-in sort of thing where they keep an entire calendar updated and then you can like sync it with your calendar or just view it. Because I know they have like an events calendar on the Edgewood website, but to me it seems like there's like 8 repeating events that happen every day or something, and the other things are just not even updated. So I don't quite know how that's used. Maybe I'm just not using it correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else has seen that.
I mean, I do like the idea of like being able to like view like events that are going on and being able to like opt in. If I could talk, that seems like a good idea because you get like a rough overview of what's going on. Have a description if you like go into the event itself and either opt in or just ignore it. And granted, you won't be given like more emails or clutter.
Do you guys think students would be willing to complete surveys? Like if it was like, here's 3 options we can do on this date, or the OSI is hosting these 3 potential options. Do you think students, from your experience, would be willing to fill out like a survey that's like just decide what they want to do if there are these 3 options, or do you think this like survey type of style wouldn't work?
I think that could work if people like are willing to like reach out, like even to students who are like eating lunch or like doing their homework. Just take like a brief second to either would these events interest you, and if so, which one? That's actually a good idea because then we get student input. We get people who either don't want to do it or just aren't interested.
And you could even suggest like what times would work, because as we were talking about earlier, so this Friday at Edgewood there's a choir event that's going on at noon on Friday.
Is there really?
Yeah, we were talking about earlier. It's a musical event. So not only is it it's on a Friday, which there's very hardly any students on campus, but it's at noon.
And it's the Friday before break.
Yeah,
so...
it's the Friday before break. So
okay.
How anyone's going to be on campus? I already on Fridays have class from noon to 4. So as a student on campus, there's no way I could even make that. So I feel like there's, we're talking about no one's going to show up to this event, and that's obviously it's a horribly planned timing of the event. I feel bad for people who are showing up to this event or participating in this event, hoping that people are showing up to listen to them. Instead, it's just going to be a giant flop. There's going to be faculty there because they're being asked to go there. So
yeah,
I feel like surveys could help not only help students figure out what they want to do if they were given options, but also what timings work best for them. Either it be a weekend, morning, maybe late in the night, because students stay up late. 9, 10 at night if it was an event. I don't know if Edgewood has that capability of having night things, but timings I think would be great as well.
What if you also were to track how many people participated in the survey, so that way you could see how many people are actually interested?
Yeah,
you could send out a survey and maybe only like 1 or 10 would actually take it seriously.
Yeah, it's not hard to track because obviously a super easy survey to make. Anyone can make a straw poll, and straw poll tells you exactly like how many people fill out the survey. What percentage fill out this. So it doesn't it could be something more professional than straw poll, but it's not too hard to.
Speaking of survey, I know I'm sorry guys, I'm just kind of changing the topic a little bit. Do you think that in doing all these surveys and the questionnaires, we're all bombarded with information? You know, a lot of people think it's like too hard to keep up with this wave of knowledge. Does technology make life easy or does it make it harder? I mean, as in, does it make you into a Rick or does it turn you into a Jerry or like, you know, like not as intelligent, you know, not being able to keep up?
I mean,
Next podcast.
next podcast?
Yeah, that's a
Oh.
topic.
Oh, is
Right,
Oh,
so
okay.
should we continue that or should...
I mean, we could preview that for next podcast, or we could just keep it in. What's our
Okay.
time frame? And you can't pause it because he sucks.
No, can you just edit this part out?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
the most part.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we as students want these events at night, and that's great. But we got to remember that a lot of these are coordinated by staff and faculty, and you know they have lives that they want to go home to too at night. So they're not necessarily going to want to come back and host an Edgewood event, and that's fair. But in terms of like how the students that are coming to these, like the different types of students, you know, to say. I mean, we were talking about laser tag, different movies, and just different musicals. Like, they kind of seem similar in some ways. Do you feel like they appeal to different categories of students?
I mean, possibly, because, like, maybe they're just students who, like, want to see this type of genre movie or this type of genre movie. Again, a survey could help, because we could just add more questions to a survey. Or... I lost my train of thought.
I think they appeal to different students because, you know, I've had, you know, CS classes here, and, you know, I've had, you know, speech, like, or I don't know what, communications class, and, you know, a lot of like, CS students here are, you know, introverted. They don't always want to hang out with people. So I think events can be limited to, like, you know, the type of students. So it is another good question, like, how do they reach out students who prefer being on their own and prefer...
I have a question. I don't know if the genies in the background can answer, but how many people are on? What is the current enrollment of Edgewood College, and how many people live on campus versus off campus?
That is a good question. Genies, do you know the answer?
Roll
do you
the
like that
magic
idea
ball.
of like calling them genies? This is so great. Just give us a sec. In the meantime, we can come back to this and talk about something else. Huh?
Continuing on, we're reaching...
Oh.
And because, yes, we're approaching, I want to say about half an hour now, just a little over half an hour. And
Is this
we're
like-
going to talk on why students don't participate in events on Edgewood, which is a pretty serious topic. And I feel like, you know, Edgewood they do what they can at times, you know, to get students involved. But at the same time, you know, there's definitely what more stuff students can do to get involved. But
Oh, I have something I want to ask too. Do we ever use the football field, or is that part of the high school?
That's not high school.
That's like for the high school, and I think technically a practice field. I think occasionally, but not always.
So, well, I know this may sound kind of weird, but you ever consider maybe having some type of event, maybe like on there for the students to get involved in, like
a field day.
What
are we-
just, you know, how many students are going to be like, oh, I want to go exercise. I have a field day event. You know, that's one of those things you got to think about. Because when I'm at Edgewood, I feel like Edgewood, well, they do great at advertising, getting students to come to Edgewood. You know, obviously they want, you know, students here at Edgewood. But then you see all this advertisement of, oh, here's why you come to Edgewood. But, you know, then you start at Edgewood, and then there's all that lacking advertisement for actual activities to do on Edgewood. So I wish that Edgewood as a whole would, you know, focus. I mean, it's nice to get students here. Like, of course, you want students to come here, but, you know, tell them the reasons why when they come to Edgewood, like what there is on campus to do, instead of just, you know, here's all the, you know, opportunities that Edgewood provides you for, you know, job opportunities. Because, you know, for a lot of people, when they get older, they look at college and say, oh, these are my golden years. So how does Edgewood make a student feel like Edgewood really was the golden years?
without like
events?
turning half drunk, half intoxicated,
'Cause, I mean,
all over the place, being goofy.
we should still be like, you know, legal about this because the law is a thing. And then, according to our genies of excellence, we have about 2,500 students on campus, but I guess not even half live on campus. This could be false information or true information, but granted, we just don't have enough information in front of us because someone didn't want to use Google.
In terms of activities, alcohol isn't allowed on Edgewood, correct? Yeah, because it's a Catholic school.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, I bet every student would say, because a lot of colleges I've been to have, bars on campus. I wish, Edgewood would be more willing to...
To open a bar on campus. This is a great idea. Totally.
I don't see the problem with it.
Well, it doesn't have to be like
they have Safe Ride, which I've taken, which will take you to bars and whatnot. But
why don't you talk more about that actually? Because again, I live off campus, and I'm pretty sure some people who are underage.
Well, I'm 23, so I can legally drink. But
well, no, but I'm saying like how does it operate? It drops students off, and does it take you back to campus?
Yeah, it does actually.
No, it depends on the timing. It's like it's from like midnight to 3 a.m. I want to say.
So what if like you get like you're drunk and you miss the bus back?
Oh, you just get picking up an Uber. The Ubers are everywhere. Because a lot of the last club I went to / party.
We should wrap it up.
Party.
Yeah, the last party. That shuttle picked us up. We went there around 12, and then we just took an Uber back there because the places are closed at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So then an Uber quickly takes you back. So it's not a problem getting back to campus. I can guarantee.
That's real cute.
Genies are having a low maintenance over here.
So guys, how do we want to conclude?
Whole another issue that we can discuss another time. All that stuff is available off campus, so we're being taken away from some of those activities. So guys,
we're glad you joined us today with talking about why students don't get involved. Next week, we'll be talking more suggestions. Possibly is technology good or is it bad? Has it hurt us or has it helped us? And we'll be interested in possibly talking about that next week. We have some other tech-related issues we might cover next week. But does anyone else have any ending conclusions they'd like to leave off with why they feel students don't get involved, or if they thought this conversation was helpful?
I think this is actually a crap ton of information that Edgewood could use and should probably I think this is good enough information that Edgewood can use and input to make the system a bit better.
Yeah, in the end, we're all trying to make Edgewood, a better community.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel that having more activities, having more advertising for activities, I think would be helpful. I don't see how it could harm anybody.
I think to close on a note, one thing that we should try to do is make a suggestion box, as in put it in the dining halls, and so people can just, if things they want to talk about or do, and then that way it would be better. People can see.
Just an idea, but it
just
works.
an idea.
Guys, once again, why are we talking about this issue?
Because yes.
Because yes.
Indeed. All right, we'll catch y'all later, you guys. Thanks for coming along, and just because yes.
We're good. Gonna end it up right there.